What's up guys, it's CM Boom back with another video. This time we have a little bit of a different style video. With the Xdefiant closed beta now come and gone, I wanted to share a little bit of my thoughts on the game and some positives and negatives. So let's start with the general beta issues, such as like bugs, server connection, and netcode. I know there were a few bugs with the beta, especially there was an HDR bug that caused the HDR to be stuck in the on mode for your monitor, which would cause some really weird color saturation. I had an issue with it, but it was easily fixable by switching off a setting in the graphics menu, and then it fixed it for me. As well as server connection. I know some people had some problems with server connection, connecting to matches, some people being stuck on a loading screen, and as well as the netcode. I know netcode was an issue that the developers actually did update during the beta. There was a little bit of a hit registration problem, and people were dying around corners. I know it happened to me a couple times, but these issues, I think, are more of just general beta issues. A lot of betas kind of have these type of problems where they're buggy. The servers are a little weird. You know, the point of a beta is so that a company can test their game on a massive scale. So I have a feeling that most, if not all of these problems will be fixed come launch, and we really won't have to worry too much about them. But alright, let's start with some positives. There are a lot of positives in this game. I do want to say overall, this game felt awesome, and I'll get to that more at the end. But the major positive that we want to get out of the way, and that everybody has been talking about, is the inclusion of no skill-based matchmaking in public matches. Skill-based matchmaking has been a huge topic over the last few years, especially with Call of Duty, to where the game, will try to match you with players of similar skill level, so everybody kind of gets this tailored experience to them. So someone like me who generally has a higher KD, tends to go positive in matches, will end up playing against a lot tougher players than, say, someone who's just coming home from work and getting only to play a couple hours, maybe once or twice a week. So thankfully no skill-based matchmaking being in the public matches. It's just true pubs. That's going to be a really, really, really awesome thing to kind of have, and it'll feel refreshing. Next thing I want to talk about too is the working minimap. We have red dots on the minimap in this game. And for those of you that don't know, because if you've played COD in the past few years, when you fire your weapon, you don't show up on a minimap. And that's not how it always used to be. Call of Duty's, ages ago or, years ago, when you fired your weapon, you would show up on a minimap that was unsuppressed. You would show up on the minimap, and you could get information, and it definitely helped with like rank and stuff. But recently, for some reason, the developers over at Call of Duty and Activision have decided that they don't want to put red dots on the minimap anymore. And their quote was they don't want to punish players for firing their weapons. So this game, Xdefiant, fortunately, thank God, has a working minimap, and we don't have to worry about, people just sitting in corners and camping, waiting for you to come around a corner and shoot you. So that's great. Next is no overpowered aim assist. Aim assist in Call of Duty has been insane over the past few years, with the inclusion of the dynamic response curve and just the way how aim assist works and how bullet magnetism, how heavy it is. There's, it is kind of insane. Call of Duty's kind of become almost like a point and click type game. You don't really have to move your thumbstick and control your recoil a lot. Xdefiant, the aim assist feels pretty much just right. It still needs a little bit of tuning. I feel like it could be slightly stronger, maybe like 3 to 4% stronger. But other than that, aim assist feels fantastic. I mean, you actually have to move your thumbstick to aim. It was kind of something. It was like, oh, I haven't been used to that in a while. And after going back to Call of Duty, after playing Xdefiant, I was like, oh my word, this is so easy to aim. But yeah, no overpowered aim assist in Xdefiant. That's going to be awesome. The movement, which I want to talk about next, is awesome. It's fast-paced. There's no slide canceling. There's no snaking. It feels classic. It feels classic. No tack sprint. It feels classic, akin to older FPS games, as well as like modernizing it. The way I relate it to like the way the Halo Infinite sprint is. Halo Infinite sprint feels like, it took kind of what every modern shooter has and just kind of added it to Halo, because Halo usually doesn't have sprint, but they kind of, they integrated it so it doesn't feel like it changed Halo too much. But, and the sprint feels really good, and I really like it a lot. No snaking is going to be fantastic for ranked. Yeah, movement feels great. Love it. It's a good positive. Speaking of ranked, there's going to be a ranked system at launch in Xdefiant. Oh, man, something that the community, the competitive community, has been asking for forever. The past 3 years, Call of Duty, well, past 4 years, really. I think, yeah, past 4 years, Call of Duty has not included ranked at launch. It has always come, 3 months after the game. Modern Warfare 2's ranked system came out Season 2, which was 3 months after the game. Vanguard's, I don't know when Vanguard's came out. I didn't really play Vanguard. I bought it maybe halfway through the year. And then same with Black Ops Cold War. Black Ops Cold War's rank didn't come out until months after the game was already out. It launched about the time of the CDL, which I think was February of that year. And, that's kind of crazy. Not having a ranked system at launch, it drives a lot of players away. And I think we're seeing that with Modern Warfare 2's ranked system being pretty good, how much it actually helps having that at launch. So having a ranked system at launch is going to be fantastic for this game. We got to play a little bit of it. It was like an alpha version, and the kind of like just the building blocks of it, and it seemed to work. It's pretty nice. It does work, at least from what I saw, similar to Modern Warfare 2's, where everybody starts in bronze and you win and you work your way out of it. So if that's the way it's going to go, I'm really excited. That's going to be amazing. Gunplay feels really good. Again, it feels, the word I want to keep using is classic. It feels like those older games, but also while still feeling, new, fresh, and exciting. So the gunplay does feel really, really good. And then not to mention the actual names of the weapons are in the game. The ACR, the MP7, the MP5, not the Lockman sub, the Vel 46. So that's really, really cool to see. And then maps. The maps feel so fun in this game. They're bright, they're colorful, they've got the traditional 3-lane design. I don't like, I'm not a fan of all of them, but that's going to be every game. Nobody's a fan of 100% of the maps. But I would say like 80% of the maps in this game, I really, really like playing on. And the game modes that just complement them so very well, especially in ranked. So, that's a lot of the positive stuff. There's a few negatives. And starting with the negatives, I want to bring it back down to movement, which I know movement was a positive. How can it also be a negative? There's a little bit of negatives when it comes to the movement, especially when aiming back and forth. The best word I could use to describe it is it feels a little stiff, and there's a little tightness to it when you move your right stick. I know Call of Duty has been, and I will praise them for this. The Call of Duty has always had a really good engine and their movement in terms of looking around and moving your character kind of left and right with your right stick has always had this kind of smoothness to it that no game has been really able to capture. So the tuning a little bit with the movement, maybe loosen it up a bit so it doesn't feel so stiff. And also the jump I feel needs to be a little higher. There were times where I felt like if I was running towards a bench to kind of jump onto it without having to mantle, it felt like the jump was too short and I would clip the edge of the bench and not make it up so I could jump over a wall. And that's something that again is also in Call of Duty, to where, and I think most shooters in general that have this type of thing, to where if you could just time your jump, you wouldn't have to mantle. So I don't know if it was just me, if it just looked like the jump was too short, if it actually was. But that's what I felt. I felt it was a little short and needs just high, just a little bit higher, just a couple inches, just so that you could time it and hit your jump ups basically. Some of the abilities are a little overpowered, more or less the Libertad stuff like the Bayavita boost and the ultimate, to where you could shoot at somebody and they could pop an ability and overheal to 200 health. I know that the developers have already said that a nerf is incoming, which is, first of all, really good to see. It's really good to see that, they're already addressing this type of issue. But that was just something I didn't really like. It always felt like I was going up against somebody who picked the Libertad operators in class, because they were just overpowered. But it's good to see that's going to get changed, but that's just a little bit. And so the next thing I really want to talk about too, and this could be me nitpicking, could have just been me, but the icons on the minimap could be a little bit larger. I am glad that a working minimap is here. Believe me, I am so excited to have that. But the icons, they felt like they were a little small. Like, I had to, really kind of almost lean in to see them. So, maybe just, I don't know, zooming the minimap in about maybe 5 to 10%, or just making the icons bigger would help a lot with visibility. And as well as the objective markers, sometimes it was really hard when I was playing Hardpoint to tell where the next objective was. Now, this was before, I had learned all the rotations and where each point is going to be. But the icons were a little small, and it was a little hard to kind of see them through the walls, especially with the color palette that the game has. It's very colorful, and the light blue icon to show you where the next objective was a little bit hard to see. Now, if they could include something when the full game release to where you could change those static colors, like Call of Duty, you can. In Call of Duty, I have my neutral objective set to purple. It's a color that just stands out, so I can always see it and never lose track of it. That would be something that'd be really nice and probably help with that. But other than that, just maybe increase the icons a little bit by 5 to 10%. And next thing, speaking of game modes and objectives, Escort. Oh man, I don't like Escort. This could be a personal preference. I'm not a big fan of Escort. It's the game mode where you have to it's almost like Overwatch, where you have to stand on a package and you escort it down a linear style map, and there's attackers and defenders. For a game like this that is an arcade shooter, this game mode I feel just doesn't really work, especially with the way that some of the maps are designed. There are some of the checkpoints are just doorways that you have to be standing on this objective in order to move it, and you're able to basically get, you get shoved into basically a box to where defenders can just sit up high and pick you off. So as a pub game mode, 6v6, it works a little bit better, but in ranked, it does not work at all. 4v4, it's not enough for it, honestly, and I don't think it should be in ranked. I think I had seen a few people, especially on Reddit, talking about that they don't really like Escort, and they don't think it should be in ranked. I'm hoping that it's not in ranked. I would like to see something like maybe Capture the Flag game mode come to ranked. I think that would work better. Maybe a Search and Destroy mode, that would work better. But Escort, it can stay a public match. It can stay a public match mode, but it definitely should not be in ranked. And kind of for the final negative, I think there's no plans for a TDM mode at the moment. I'd seen Mark Rubin, the executive director of this game, had tweeted that there wasn't a plan for TDM at the moment. But with how transparent these developers have been and how much they've actually taken to listening to community feedback, I feel like there will be a TDM mode, maybe not at launch, but maybe a couple weeks after launch. I'm fairly certain we will see a team deathmatch mode. That is kind of something that, every shooter does need to kind of have. A team deathmatch mode to where you can kind of just get on and mindlessly, you just kind of shoot, and you don't have to really go for an objective. You don't have to be kind of so-called, you don't have to sweat. So I think a TDM mode will definitely help this game. No plans for it at the moment, but that could change here soon in the future. I'm hoping it does. But yeah, so those are kind of just some of the positive and negatives. My overall thoughts on this game, I am very, very excited. I had an amazing time playing Xdefiant. I love that this beta went on for 10 days. I really want to see more companies do that. 10 days for a beta, I think that's a fantastic way to get everybody in, so everybody can have a chance to play. They can collect as much data and feedback as possible, and it gives them time to kind of look at issues that arise from testing their game in a public space. I think 4 days, 3-4 days, which is what most betas are not enough. I haven't had time always to play those betas that are only 3-4 days on the weekends. With the 10-day beta, I never had to worry about, oh man, I gotta get my games in before before this beta goes away. There was no fear of missing out because you had enough time. And the beta even ended up getting extended a couple days because there were server issues that maintenance had to be performed and the servers were down for a couple hours. So that was awesome to see. All in all, this beta ended up being 12 days. It's almost a 2-week beta. More companies need to do this. More companies definitely need to do this. It'll help immensely in collecting data, like I said earlier, and I think communities will just be a lot happier. But, this game, yes, fantastic. I can't wait for it to launch. There's no date has been announced. It is slated to come out this year, though, in 2023. So, hopefully that comes out sooner rather than later. My guess is that this game's probably going to come out in the fall or late summer. And I would guess that it's going to come out in late fall to kind of compete with Call of Duty. I mean, that could be a smart or a bad decision depending on how you view it. I'm kind of impartial. I think it could go either way, but nonetheless, this game is exciting. It's going to give Call of Duty, I think, some real competition. And, a lot of people are saying that this game is going to kill Call of Duty. I don't think this game is going to kill Call of Duty. Nothing could kill Call of Duty. Call of Duty is a franchise that's been around for pretty much almost 2 decades. It's not going anywhere. It sells well every single year. It's going to continue to sell well every single year. What I do hope this game does is puts pressure on Call of Duty to kind of change a lot of these kind of like the changes that they made that the community didn't like the minimap and the red dots and, dead silence not being a perk. I'm hoping that with this game, and as transparent as the developers have been, which is a complete breath of fresh air, the transparency the developers have been, I'm hoping that it pushes Call of Duty to, actually start listening to the community and actually start making changes that they want. And so that we can have a real competition here. And so that's my hopes for the future. And I have really high, levels of excitement, really high expectations for this game. I think it's going to be really, really good. And yeah, so those are a few of my thoughts. Let me know how you guys felt down in the comments below. I want to hear your thoughts. If you played the Xdefiant beta, what did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next one. I got a good spawn. I don't know if they're going to be spawning this. Yep, they're spawning out this way. They're out in Narnia. Come on. Could that be GG's, boys? Could that be GG's? Could that be GG's? Oh! 2 points. 2 points. It could be GG's. Get on, get on, get on, get on, get on. Literally 2 seconds. I need to play my life. I need to play my life. If we break here. No, I needed that trade. I needed that trade. All right, we need to get to new. We get to new. We need to get to new. Oh no. Oh no, we need to get to new. That should be it. We get this kill. That should be it. We get the kills. The kills gotta come through. The kills gotta. They gotta. Did we get it? I think we got it. Frick yeah, we got it! Let's go, baby! A 3v4! Heck yeah, oh my goodness. I got play of the game, let's go! 46 and 22 on a 3v4. A 3v4 and I popped almost a 50 bomb, let's freaking go. Oh my gosh. Yes! Woo! That is amazing. This game's awesome, bro. I love it. I love it so much.